Okay, welcome. This is going to be a second attempt at episode 5. Had a few technical issues yesterday, but I've gotten that taken care of now. So um, this is a series that my name's Ryan Hetzer. This is a series I'm doing for Sim Sports Gaming YouTube channel. Make sure that if you were not a subscriber and somehow found your way into the stream, that you subscribe. You get those notifications when they come in. Of course, the main draw of the channel, or at least for the baseball side of things, is Mike Lowe and his slider set that is so popular. And when it comes to MLB The Show, he has just released actually 1.7 in the vault, version 1.7, with a couple of minor changes. Just going to blast the link out real quick. When it comes to franchise play, I mean, I certainly have my traditional approaches that I've taken. I mean, I have one that I do a full 162 with. Similar, I guess, in nature to Mike's on the channel with the Tigers. I have, I've been doing a franchise using the Long Balls and Legends roster that Riding Rosters put out. I guess it's been about a month ago now, and that's been a lot of fun. So I'm always kind of on the lookout for, or kind of have my mind working around different approaches that could be fun to a franchise play. And so this one is, I'm calling it Prospecting for Gold, and essentially took the Rays, and of course the Rays having the consensus number one farm system in all of baseball. And I sort of put a simulation into my mind, or pretended in my mind that I actually was sort of at the 2019 winter meetings, before the 2020 season even started, and took over the club with the idea that I was going to double down on this system and basically, keep the young, stable, to the club, with the idea that over a 5-year stretch, the Rays would become, the dominant team in baseball, with all these young studs coming of age together. It's been a slightly rough road so far. We are now entering opening day for the year 2022, so this is year 3 of the experiment, I guess we could call it. And the first 2 years have, as can be expected, the record was not very good at all. I think year 1 there was 106 losses. I think last year I want to say there was 80 something. No, I'm sorry, even more than that, 90 something in the loss category. And there's been, I think on the pitching side of things, it's been a little bit harder to get a handle on as to who is really going to step forward and be the linchpins of the pitching staff, this championship level pitching staff I hope to have. But on the hitting side, I'm feeling pretty good about the everyday lineup, and feeling like they're really on track to be that dominant team. But the pitching staff, I'm still just not feeling exactly confident about the future that within the next 2 years that those guys will step up and be championship level. So when I first began in 2020, the idea was that all players had to be 25 years of age or younger. Now, because a couple of the guys were 24 original members of the experiment of the rebuild, so those guys, are still around. But anyone I've picked up new, I have made a fair amount of additional moves here and there. Anyone I picked up new has to be under the age of 25. Now I want to talk real quick because it bears upon today's game that real quick, just the method I'm using for progression to this all goes back to the idea that I went through a period of time, well, for many years actually, where any franchise I was to start at was always kind of with this very idealistic viewpoint that I'm going 162 and I want every statistic that comes into play to be my own, and I want to, and more times than not, those things just fizzle out. And so I'd say about towards the tail end of playing the 2019 version, I just developed this kind of thing just out of nowhere, and it's not groundbreaking by any means, but it's a method that allows me to kind of stay interested and focused on my franchise, and to play meaningful games at times, but then it also allowing for progression, because what are the most fun and interesting parts of franchise players? Well, it's that opening day, right? How does your team start the season? You're setting your rotation, setting your lineup. That's a big moment. Then you got kind of your combination of the draft and the trade deadline. Of course, being about a month apart, but you've got that. And then you've got kind of the very end of the season, especially if you're able to, if you're in the playoffs. And then you've got your off-season work, your contracts, contract extensions, free agency, trading in the off-season. Well, with this method, you're able to get to all those things quicker. You're able to kind of see the progression of whatever it is you're trying to do with your club. But then you're also staying in contact with your team. So what I do is basically just when I start a season, the idea is to go as long as I can without losing 2 games within a 6-game stretch. So what I mean by that is I play and then continue to play as a human player until I lose. And then once you lose, that triggers a challenge where you then would have to win the next 5 in a row. So full time through the rotation, the next 5 in a row. And if you do that, you basically reset your human playing experience, where then you could then lose again. But once that loss were to occur, again, you have to then win the next 5 in a row. So it's always kind of a fun way to start out a new season, to see how long can I kind of stay alive. Obviously, invariably, you're going to lose a second game out of a 6-game stretch, but it adds a little bit of spice and a little bit of interest to the beginning of a season. Now, once you do, take that second loss in a 6-game stretch, it triggers a sim. And that sim would go, you'd stop off for the draft, but then the sim would take you all the way through till just after the All-Star break. And I use that, there's be some logic to going all the way to the trade deadline, but I just feel like the All-Star break's a little bit more of a natural restart. You can kind of reset your rotation, and if there's any moves to be made, I go ahead and usually just make them here rather than waiting until the 31st. And then when you start after the All-Star break, it's the same deal. You play until you lose. And this has created some interesting scenarios to where, sometimes I was doing one recently where I came in I think I was like 2.5 games out of first at the trade deadline on the sim I was doing. So when you start that second half, it's like, well, if I can put together a good stretch, I can put my team that I'm playing with, into a good position to maybe take over the division lead. And then, again, invariably you're going to lose and trigger that sim. But if you can win 8 of 10 or win 9 of 11, you can put your team into a good position for the rest of the season. Now, once that happens, once the loss happens there, you sim to the final 10 games of the season, at which point, if you're in contention, so if you have a chance to win the division, if you're already winning the division and you're trying to maintain that lead, if you're in a wild card position, then it's the same deal. You play the final 10 games. However, if you lose, then you have to win 5 in a row, and so on. And then that takes you to the off season. So that's the progression model that I've been using. So yesterday, in the episode that actually got cut off, I lost for the second game in a row after the All-Star break. So I lost, I think the first one was 6-5, and then I lost 2-1 in the game that I was playing that kind of got cut off from the stream anyway. And so, those 2 losses triggered a sim to the end of the season. With 10 games left, I was not anywhere near contention, so we went through the off season off camera. Not a lot really to do for this club. Just a lot of renewable contracts because everybody's so young. I didn't make any off-season trades because it's basically just letting these guys kind of grow up together and get better. So before we jump into a ball game here, opening day. Now so this is year 3, and I am kind of have some optimism that maybe we could contend. I'd like to be somewhere hanging around the wild card race this season. I don't know that we're ready to win the division, but so in that sense, using my method, I'm wanting to get a good start. I mean, if I can get 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 11 or something to start the year, that'd be a great little boost. But we shall see. Let me give you a quick look at the roster. So, as I was saying, the pitching is really... Everybody's just kind of clustered together, and we got McKay and May. Armenteros was actually kind of a throw-in. I think he was on the trade block last season, and I went ahead and just picked him up. But he's progressed to a 79 rating. I think he was only like a 73 when I picked him up. And then Sixto Sanchez, and this is actually a draftee. So, kind of excited to see what he looks like. So those are kind of, but then it's just all these, 75, 74, 73, 72, A and B level, and just kind of sorting through all these guys. Really, what we need is at least three starters to kind of step up and just be elite. And I suppose that McKay and May are kind of on that path. But no, not so sure about the others. I mean, Sanchez is at a 79, only 23 years old. So they're kind of guys right on the brink. I think in year 4 is really where we'll see, if this pitching staff can be dominant or not. I also made a concerted effort to pick up some relievers, because I noticed in some of the games I was playing, it's just like I had all these mid-level starters or mid-70s, high 60 starters who were serving as relief pitchers. So I went after some of the best young relief pitchers in baseball, and I was able to pick up Emmanuel. I don't know how that's pronounced exactly, but Clase. I think in real life he just got hit with a PED issue, but so I went after him, and he's in the bullpen. Alvarado's still around. He was part of my original. And then this was actually this Leandro Guillen picked up last year, and I think he may be a drafted guy as well. I didn't draft him, but I traded for him. And he's at 22 years old. He's a 70 right now already. I have him up with the big club. And then this young man I just picked up for Varsho, who really was kind of floundering as one of my catching prospects. Langoliers has taken the reins. Last year hit 266, 21 homers. So he's kind of taken the starting catching job. And then we have another stud prospect in Hernandez. So Dalton Varsho was expendable. And in return, I was able to get this Devin Pritchard. So we're building some bullpen pieces. I'm starting him at AAA. He's only 18, so this was one of the last roster decisions I made because I kept, instead of bringing him up as another reliever, I kept Shane Baz on the roster. Now, he's a 68, 22 years old. The main reason I kept him is that when I've thrown him in a couple games in relief when I've been controlling the team live, and he's got really good stuff now, so he's a guy that if I was playing every game of this, I would definitely keep him up. From a Sims point of view, I'd have to see how he does, because although it really wouldn't be the worst thing for Pritchard to spend the whole year at AAA and then next year be ready to potentially be kind of a fireballer out of a bullpen. I don't even know if he is a fireballer. I haven't looked at him yet. The velocity isn't all that great. Looks like he keeps the ball in the ballpark. Basically limits contact. Pretty good control. So, so that's the pitching staff now. The lineup is where I was saying that I'm really feeling they're on track to be a championship level lineup. Like I said, Langoliers has really established himself as an everyday catcher. You've got these two guys who just mash. Low last year's at 37 and then 26. And the batting average is respectable. Nate Lowe went 29 in 2020 and then 32 homers last year. And again, batting average not, 265, 251, so two-hole gave him a more prominent spot in the lineup. Hit 240 last year with 11 homers. Adamus moved to third at the beginning of this experiment, and it's very solid everyday third baseman right now. Nothing's too flashy, but definitely good cog. Now Franco, it's been so-so. I kind of expected a little bit better of a sophomore campaign. His rookie year, I think, was pretty good as an 18-year-old, but anyway, last year still he did hit 19 homers, 63 ribbies, hit 240, and he's still 20. With an 81 overall rating. So this was a draftee for depth, Greg Jones. This is a big year for Waters to see. I don't really know quite what I have with him. He had a really good first year, rookie year, and then he ended up with 23 homers last year, but hitting only 224, and he's got another outfielder kind of, I would say, breathing down his neck for playing time, so that's the other big thing. Adele, at 22 years old, has taken the reins in center field. Hit 25 homers last year. Of course, hitting 230, striking out a lot, but we're committed to him in center field at this point. And then you have Meadows, who actually had a ACL tear last year, just before the trade deadline. And he was having a monster 28 homers, 72 RBIs, and that was again in July. And he tore his ACL. I was worried that it'd be one of those random retired situations in the offseason, but he did not retire. He's back. But this guy, Christian Robinson, the Diamondbacks product, picked him up at the very beginning of the experiment and really like his makeup. And so I'm only carrying 4 outfielders, and he's the clear guy who's right now the 4th. But I'm going to have him push Waters for that starting left field job as well. I think I already have him in the lineup against lefties, which we are facing a lefty in the first game of the season. So I think Robinson's in right and Meadows is the DH because I take Nate Lowe out of the lineup against lefties. Brandon Lowe stays in there. His numbers are a bit better against left-handers. So yeah, I guess that lineup, I feel pretty good about it. I feel like, it's a lineup that could contend this year in terms of maybe a wild card spot. Probably not a championship level lineup yet. That will kind of be told with what happens this year. Because again, the goal, the hope is that year 4 and 5 is the championship seasons back to back. All right, so we have, before we get going, I need to, I think I already did set my lineups and my pitching staff, but I have 91, so I'm going to have to drop one of the guys from the 90-man roster. Okay. And yeah. Now, if you're new to the series, I did do a rebranding of every franchise. That's why you see some strange logos and names and stuff. I did that towards the beginning of the release of the game, and it took a lot of time to build, 30 different uniforms and everything. So I just wanted to kind of show those off a little bit in this series. We'll talk more about my team's uniform and logo once we're in game. But we're starting off against the, I call them the Baltimore Browns because the Baltimore Orioles are the old St. Louis Browns back when St. Louis had an American League and a National League team. So they have the old kind of Baltimore Browns uniforms, or St. Louis Browns uniforms, I should say. And then, so we're going to jump into opening day. And I went with Dustin May as my opening day starter, rather than McKay. I think McKay has, let's go back. Yeah, McKay does have an 81 rating versus 80 for May, but I've thrown a couple times with McKay already, and I was just, even though I'm guaranteed to play at least 2 games, I don't know, I just was kind of, since they're so close, I was a little bit more anxious to get a chance to pitch with May for this episode. So we went with May. And lineup-wise, like I said, I am pushing Edwards up. These guys are both switch hitters, dynamic athletes. I kind of want to see if they can just really step it up and get it going, setting the table for guys like Meadows, Lowe, and Lowe when the other Lowe's in the lineup against righties. I don't know, actually. I'm going to flip-flop Christian Robinson and Adamus. I just think he's going to be a little bit better in that 5-hole as a veteran, driving in runs. Adele, I like Adele there. Yeah, Robinson in the 7th spot. Another switch hitter, once you're the first time through the lineup, you actually end up with 9, 1, and 2 all in a row being switch hitters, which is kind of nice. Yeah. Just, real quick on the bench, I mean, Brujan is another high-level prospect. Not progressing quite as quickly as some of the others, but that could be because I've been kind of burying him on the bench. Obviously, Nate Lowe is normally in there against righties, the backup catcher. This is a guy drafted who's another switch hitter. Good defense and good speed. Yeah, not sure, how much playing time he'd be in line for, but kind of was my best option as another infield depth piece. So, let's get into it. So also just to kind of add a little bit of my own stamp on this, I picked a kind of a random minor league park as my home stadium. It's one that's kind of cool looking, kind of quirky. I think they call this Central City Field maybe or something. No, Main Street Field. Of course, also the Rays play in Tropicana, so that's not exactly an exciting and fun place to play your home games. So the other games that I've played with this group, I've kind of done it with not really feeling any pressure, just kind of like, I'm not really expected to win. These guys are just young, just trying to build up. And like I said, with this year 3, I'm really kind of hoping that they can stick around and be in contention for a wild card. Now, I like to think that if I can really get off to a good start and win 9 of 11 or something like that, 10 of 12, I could really boost and give a jump start to this group. So here we go with Dustin May, and let's see what happens. I like seeing some of the changes around the league too. We'll kind of keep an eye on what the Orioles, we'll call them the Orioles, but see what the Orioles kind of have done. Boy, May has kind of that funky little leg kick. Good play by Waters. So my uniforms, you get a good look at the prospects after dark. That's not my logo. It does kind of really fit this approach and this team. I borrowed that. There's another fellow blogger and content creator, podcaster within the St. Louis Cardinals community named Kyle Reese. And he actually has an amazing podcast, and the name of the podcast is called Prospects After Dark. It's one of my favorite podcasts. Very prospect focused, more so on the Cardinal organization, but he does know his minor league systems, across the board very, very well. And if you're a Cardinal fan, you should definitely check out his podcast. It's on a website called Birds on the Black. And I write for a different website, Two Birds on a Bat, so it's not like I'm plugging him for any other reason than just, he's a great content creator, writes a series called The Dirty 35, which is the top 35 prospects in the Cardinal system. And then, I wrote to him on Twitter and just said, hey, I'd like to use the logo that's in the vault for a little series I'm doing, and it fits, of course, with the prospect angle. So that is the uniform situation. One thing I do, I don't see a lot of people do. It's just is I do use the adaptive pitcher intelligence, like the catcher intelligence, where I don't know. I just kind of see it as in a ball game. Your catcher does kind of set your game plan. Now, it's not like I can't shake him off, and sometimes they'll make a call that doesn't make sense, especially with 2 strikes. I'll kind of try to be a bit more thoughtful if I agree with the approach, but other than that, it's just kind of, I don't know, I just kind of see it as like that relationship with the catcher, and hey, okay, that's what he wants, here we go. But that's just me. I forgot to catch who this hitter was. Oh, this is Dwight Smith Jr., okay. Now here on 1-2, I mean, yeah, see? That's why you listen to the catcher. I was thinking maybe the inside fastball wasn't the best way to go, but I went with it anyway and get the strikeout. So yeah, facing lefty John Means. He's a current member of their rotation as well, so he's stuck around with the club. Not bad numbers for a 19-year-old, so we'll see. Now I want to mention something. I went back to using a PCI, and I feel really stupid about it because I think in another episode, and even talking with Mike Lowe on his episodes, I've kind of talked about how, oh yeah, I really like the non-PCI approach, but to be honest, I'm kind of somebody who's really prone to tinkering with things when something isn't quite working. That's why I was out a few years ago in finding Mike's sliders. I was so happy because I was somebody who was always like tinkering with sliders too often. Now I just trust him. But with this, I don't know. There's just times when I lose that feel. Now I have settled upon the MLB The Show 15 camera, and I've definitely had a lot of my experience tinkering with the camera. Like the camera, I'm not gonna mess with again. I'm done with tinkering with the camera. But when it comes to the PCI, I've gone back to it. So I don't know. I don't really have much other explanation for it than that. I guess other than just like, kind of just found myself without the PCI, just not getting to pitches as that I felt like I should. And for whatever reason, it just, in tinkering a bit, I felt more comfortable with the PCI. So went back to it. I reserve the right to go back to a non-PCI. But yeah. I know what I wanted to say. There is somewhat of a method where I kind of started to develop an approach where I like to, and this came through playing some online leagues, not Diamond Dynasty, but like the custom leagues, and started doing a bit more of an approach where, setting your PCI pre-pitch. So like when you're expecting a pitch in a certain area, or a pitcher is really hammering a certain area a lot, and you start to notice that, and really kind of cheating your PCI to that part. I started doing that in some online, and I had some success, and so that's kind of what actually ended up being the reason to switch it over, is that I've started to do that. Now, it's not every pitch. With 2 strikes, I like to just keep it right in the middle. But there are times where if I'm kind of anticipating a fastball up, I'll cheat up there a little bit. Same thing if there's a pitcher who's throwing a lot of sinker balls and splitters and stuff. In that case, I like to, at the PCI, it's going to fade out of the strike zone. It's going to drop out of the strike zone. Whereas, if you start your PCI right in the middle on a splitter or a changeup, sometimes it kind of looks good and it just dives out for you. So, I mean, look, it's not a perfect approach by any means, but this is the kind of the method or the reasoning behind going back to the PCI after I've previously in other discussions kind of stated that I was a non-PCI guy. So, but hey, I'm fickle when it comes to the hitting approach, and I'm trying to just limit that. So like I said, I used to mess around with the camera a lot. I'm sticking with the MLB to show 15 camera. Used to mess around with sliders a lot. I'm done with that, but PCI, still tinkering. Well, not exactly the way we were hoping to start out the season, but what are you going to do? Oh, they missed. I put my head down, or actually I looked over at the laptop, and I guess the throw was wide on the strikeout? Oh, that was the pitch. Okay, hold on. Oh well, I don't care enough to go back through it, but yeah, apparently the throw down was wild on the strikeout. So yeah, big year for Edwards. Kind of want him to establish himself as a number 2 hitter, everyday second baseman. Good hit and run count here. Just want a lot of heat up, so I'm going to kind of cheat up a little bit. And there's that. Didn't. So there's an example there where cheated up just slightly, actually squared that thing up pretty good, but didn't hit it as hard as I would have hoped, and then also right at the left fielder. Oh. Yeah, I guess with lefty-lefty, I found like I often get beat on the inner half, so I started to cheat just slightly to the inner half. I just found myself never getting to those pitches. Of course, there was one there, and I still got jammed on it and was late on it. So again, this is just me trying to feel my way through it. Kind of try it again here though. I find, you know, in some of the testing, I find I'm still able to, in doing this, I can get to that outside pitch or. Good play. Part of the danger of the approach is when kind of cheating your PCI is that if the pitch is in that area but it's not quite a strike, I sometimes am, you know, more likely to chase it than I would if I was just reading and reacting in a normal way. So it's kind of take the good with the bad. G-Man Cho still have this Renato Nunez with 29 homers last year. See, like, in, you know, again, the adaptive pitching intelligence, like a wig, curveball, wig cutter. Makes sense to come in there and execute the pitch and you get the strikeout. So sometimes it almost feels, you know, like you're kind of really working a hitter. And obviously, you know, you could do that on your own as well, but I see I'm not getting that high strike the way they did. Stay in the ballpark. Yeah, he caught it. Catch. Robinson ran that down.
Leading off for the Giants, the third baseman, Willie Calvin.
Get those once in a while. I mean, that's good timing. Just at the very slightly top of the PCI. I didn't power swing. You get a pop up. I guess, yeah, well. That was a good pitch to hit if I'd have been less focused on the previous pitch. Nope. The slider, that's a good pitch. I read that as fastball. Couldn't adjust.
The right fielder. Twisted. Robinson.
Nope, that's the ball. 1-0. Ball 2.
Definitely like the look and make it for this kid. That was a strike.
We got a full count. 3-2.
Probably ball 4 there.
Leading off for the O's. The catcher. Adley Rutschman.
Ooh, hung that a little bit. Rutschman, one of the catcher here, one of the top prospects in all of baseball, catching prospect for the Orioles. Now he's still hitting pretty far down in their order. That was the 7-hole or 8-hole? That was 7th hole.
Leo Ruiz.
Good cutter.
0-1's the count.
Notice that May's curveballs are tough to harness. Seems like pretty inconsistent with that.
That's ball 2.
That's a good changeup. So here's a 2-2 pitch that I don't, again, really know that I agree. Wants to go up top. And that's why you trust your catcher, I guess. I was thinking more of the changeup kind of diving down out of the zone, which still could have been a good pitch, but goes up top, gets the K. Ooh.
Ball 1, no strike.
That was a strike. Let's go. Hey, Daniel. Glad to see you coming and checking this one out. I know I see you quite often in Mike's stream.
Leading off for the Sandwich. The catcher.
The Langoliers is in the Braves organization. Definitely established himself as the everyday catcher.
0-1. I got the count. 0-2.
The left fielder. Drew Water.
Oh, nice play.
The batter, number 3. Shortstop. Wonder.
Well, Not exactly an offensive start we want to get off to.
0-1's the count.
That slider is... Offensively, I like it's the medium camera. I like it because it really allows you to read. Jeez. It allows you to read, I think, where the ball is in your base running kind of better than some of the other cameras I've seen, the broadcast camera, which a lot of people use. Sometimes it's hard in that camera to see whether a ball's going to get down or get down in front of an outfielder, and like with the medium camera you can usually tell, so it kind of helps with, I think it helps a lot with the base running and seeing like when you realistically have a chance to take an extra base from when you don't. Yeah, that's just, I think, called medium. And I use the broadcast defensively. I just like the look of, so they beat the shift there. I like the look of kind of the larger player model when I'm playing defensively. That's not going to be enough to move him. No, this is Dustin May. I think Puck is left-handed. It looks very similar. But this is Dustin May from the Dodgers.
Well, that's off the plate.
Oh, well, that's a very good changeup. He
Got 2-1 the count.
lays off that.
2-2 the count.
Yeah, his curveball, it's tough, and he's going to throw it 3-2 here again. Get there, Adele. Yeah, May was a bit of a weird pickup because it was towards the trade deadline last year, would be 2021. And I actually had the Dodgers propose a trade to me. I had Nick Senzel, who is a top prospect with the Reds, but he was kind of a utility player. And so they approached me with Dustin May for Senzel straight up. Like, that's a deal that they proposed to me through the game. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. That was a no-brainer.
I got the count 1-2.
See if we can't strand this guy at second here. That should do it. So, yeah, Means has just been tearing through our lineup. He's not had a hit yet.
Too high. Hold. 1-1.
He's got a mix that's really keeping me off balance right now because he's got enough on his fastball to throw it by you, and then he's got the good changeup, and then he's got the slider. Stay fair. Oh.
Now back, the designated hitter, Austin.
One ball, one strike. Nope.
Oh. Yeah, I guess that's a strike. Shit. Jack Flaherty. Jack Flaherty, if we have to see, I mean, of course, this whole pandemic is just kind of messing everything around, but this year, I mean, if you look at the second half he put together last year, the answer is clearly yes. But, you know, he's a guy that, even though a lot of people are kind of anointing him as an ace in St. Louis, he hasn't done it, you know, for multiple years. He hasn't established himself. We're going to get a shift hit there. And so he definitely has the potential, the stuff, the makeup. But when you say top 5, that's tough too. I mean, top 5 National League, yeah, I would say he's... But when you kind of expand it out, I would say he's outside of the top 5 right now, actually. Maybe somewhere between that 6 through 10 spot. But if he were to have another really good year, kind of could propel himself into that top 5 conversation. And his second half numbers last year were just sick. I mean, he was just, you know, definitely a staff ace. But yeah, I mean, first half was so-so. His full season rookie year before that, God dang, it was good, but not great. Up the ladder on the fastball. You know, now that inning, I felt like I was really seeing the pitches and was on them a lot more, but still no results. Obviously just missed the home run. And, you know, felt seeing the ball better on a few out of that might be gone. Yep. Change up. You can almost, I mean, when you leave those breaking balls up in the zone, it's like you almost know before the ball's even hit. That changeup was dead center. That might be another one. Son of a gun. Yep. So May was just cruising along, matching Means pitch for pitch, and back-to-back jacks.
No ball, 2 strikes.
Speechless. Back to back to back. I'm not even sure if I've ever, and that's Is that 4? I was about to rage quit. No. I don't know that I've ever given up back-to-back-to-back home runs in this game.
The second baseman,
Count 1-0.
Feeling kind of shell-shocked. My goodness. And the thing, too, he was cruising. I mean, he was... Look at this now. Oh, my God.
Now batting, number 24.
I really can't even believe what's happening this inning. Yeah. Yeah, that's what you got to do. And you're going to hit 3 home runs off me. Or was it 4? Yeah.
Oh. 2 balls, 1 strike. Count.
Look at this. Yeah, it's crazy, Daniel. I mean, well, he going into this inning, I think he had given up like 1 hit, had 3 or 4 Ks, and I don't even know what the hell's going on. 4 home runs, another double there. This is just legend, legend pitching. Mike using Mike Lowe's sliders. I haven't. He just put a new one in. Version 1.7, and I didn't switch over to that yet. I'm still on 1.6. I know I think it's only a couple of adjustments that he made, but yeah, this is an unbelievable inning, really.
You got 2 balls, 1 strike.
And it's not even over. I mean, he's going to walk the bases loaded now. You got to get him out of there. Or not bases loaded. Okay, there's a guy at second. Only. Oh, can't put it in. This ballpark, ball seems to fly out pretty good on. I don't know how much of a factor that is. I mean, the dimensions aren't super short, but for some reason, I've noticed some kind of cheapies. That one to left was, I guess the ones to center or just slightly left center, it's hard to complain too much about those. Those were... Yeah, I think... Did he put it up to 7? Okay. I hadn't looked that closely at them yet. So Banda's going to have to come in here. I can't even believe what a... Fielding error sliders, yeah. I could see that. I don't analyze and pay attention to the numbers as much as I know Mike does. I mean, that's one of the reasons he's able to come up with these good slider sets. I don't feel like errors are too uncommon. I feel like I do have them happen. So I'm going to get into the act now. What is it about this? Get out of here. Nope. And maybe we can come right back with we can come right back with 2 or 3 runs here. We can stay in this game. Yeah, I don't notice that there are too few errors. I wouldn't really say that there's a reason to bump up fielding errors, but for the starting stamina, I actually have noticed a few weird situations I've been in lately where a starter was taken out, I think, much too early, although that would be more hook than stamina, right? I'm thinking of hook. Ball's hit well, but pretty well, right at the second baseman. Well, you gotta at least get this run in here. My pitch was pretty much right down the middle. Somehow
1-1.
Okay.
Now back, left fielder, Drew Water.
Got a break. Oh, wait. I wanted to go to third. What's he doing? I sent him to third. Well, I was lucky enough to get the bat hop, so I guess I can't complain too much, but I swear I sent him to third. Oh.
Leading off for the O, the designated hitter, Renato.
That's the second moment in this game where I'm afraid to talk because I'm worried that I'll let go with some expletives. I mean, first of all, give up 4 home runs in an inning, and then right there I'm feeling like 2 on, 1 out, opportunity with a double or something, get right back in the game. Felt like a good fastball, I think somehow I got right on top of it. 6-4-3. Banda is a case of kind of another one of these like mid-70s stars. One of the tough things about figuring out like the makeup of this prospect team is who really belongs in the bullpen. That's why I've actually started to like target relief pitchers, young like prospect type ones, and I have a couple this year on the roster. That's gone. Jesus Christ. And that's his second of the game.
Now back, the catcher, Adley.
Yeah, Doug, I should monitor some of those numbers more than I do. I'm just going to get a look at some different guys here. I mean, I don't know. This Sosa is a starting pitcher. He was one of my draft picks. So I haven't gotten a look at him yet. I think he was a draft pick 2 years ago. He's already up to a 75 rating. Yeah, I should pay more attention, like I said, to those, some of those stats, errors, and the stolen base issue. I think Mike made some adjustments on that too, right? Like I said, I saw that he had tweeted that he put a new set in, but I didn't actually look at the set yet, so, because I think I was already like just about, I had this game loaded and I didn't want to like mess with things too much just for this game, but well, let's see if we can't plug away a little bit here. Way too impatient.
Now back. The designated hitter. Austin. Go.
I got a ball, 1 strike.
Stay fair. Nope.
That ball's foul.
Now back. Number 8.
Ball 1's the count. Inside ball.
Jesus. What am I swinging at? Safe. Doug, yeah, I have actually. No, I don't think, the thing is, I don't think there's been any patch.
Third baseman, number 1.
So, you know, without a patch, normally you wouldn't see, like, but I mean, I've been struggling offensively. I know Mike said his struggles on his stream. A lot of pitches that you feel like you're squaring up better than you are. Now, I've had a few in this game where
1-0.
like, I mean, that last jam shot, I mean, swinging at that pitch there, I mean, that's not anyone's fault but my own.
Ball.
But I've noticed I've had a few pop-ups lately where it's like you're right on it. Maybe the ball's a little bit towards the top of your PCI, but other than that, you're on the pitch, regular X swing, and it pops up. Yeah, no, I've been having it too. I have been scuffling. I lost 2-1 yesterday with this group. I did come back and win a game, but it was like most of the game with my main Cardinals franchise I do. It was like 4-1 in the 8th. I just couldn't do anything. And then I was able to, in the 8th, I put together like a rally, had a double with the bases loaded. But that game was kind of going a bad way until that. So yeah, I've been struggling. Now this here again with an opportunity of 2 outs. To maybe make some noise in this game. Not going to do it swinging at the pitch on the outside black. Now that was a pitch you can drive to right field, but apparently I was underneath it. You know, I originally wanted to send him there, but it's like one run here is not gonna. If I get him thrown out for the 3rd out of this inning,
Your attention, please. Now,
so they're gonna go right-handed. Now this is an interesting situation. Okay, first of all, let's. With the reliever coming in, we should be moving our hook up to 8. Now, I have Nate Lowe on the bench, which, I mean, if you want to get back in this game... Oh. Sorry, that's my daughter. She woke up. All right. Yeah, so I have, now I'm having a issue with the headphones. She's only 3. She woke up, but we got her set here. Now I'm having trouble with the headset. Yeah, okay, Nate Lowe. Pinch hit opportunity here. I mean, if you're going to get back in this game, bases loaded, left-handed hitter. They just brought in a right-handed pitcher, and I think he hit 32 home runs last year, 83 power. Now, if I do make the move, I would then see my other outfielder is the DH right now. So I would have to really play him out of position in left field unless, well, Greg Jones can play the outfield. So we could sub Jones in after that. Yeah, we're going to go with Nate Lowe here. Now, I wanted to go back to, CPU power to 4 is interesting. Now, I'm saying that in a game where I gave up 4 home runs already in this game. Oh, no, 5. 5 home runs. But, yeah, it seems like maybe the CPU's kind of percentage of runs that they get on home runs might be a little high. That's just again, like, I haven't crunched any numbers, but if I'm just going on like feel, It's not like I give up a ton of runs every game, but like when I do, it seems like it's via the home run. So it's a little bit hit or miss, and maybe that is something. I don't know if Mike has been considering that at all. I know when I've heard him talk about power, he's been pretty bullish on kind of feeling like where he's at is good. So I'm going to try to focus in here, see if I can't sinker, slider, change up. Oh, just underneath it. Just underneath that.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Now playing right field, number 35, Nate Lowe.
Now, technically, I could leave Nate Lowe out there and kind of hope the ball doesn't get hit to him, but if I'm trying to be a bit more honest about things, then we need to Greg Jones does have center field as his secondary position, so he can play the outfield. I'm going to go to this Esteban Sosa. This is my first look at him. He's right at like a 75. He was a draftee, I think, in one of my early draft picks in year 2. And first pitch home run. So we were talking about home runs, huh? I mean, that's just a little two-seamer. And it's like Pat Valleca has 2 home runs, like Austin Hayes. Like, these guys aren't, like, this is ridiculous.
Now back, number 24.
Ball one, no strike.
I mean, it's got to be like the 5th or 6th perfect. So he's 94 fastball. There's another just rocket. He's kind of got that little leg kick going like May does, really. Yeah, I mean, Gallo is kind of an anomaly in that way, huh? I mean, it is still the trend, but he is a complete outlier.
Yep, that ball went out.
Now back, left field.
And ultimately, this pitching staff is kind of what I was saying at the beginning of the episode. Like, the whole idea was that in years 4 and 5 of this little experiment, that the Rays would be dominant. And the lineup, I think the lineup is kind of on track to be good enough, but I just don't know about the pitching staff. I can't quite get it sorted. Now, May's start was just bizarre because he was looking really good and then just started getting bombarded in the 5th inning.
Ball that's outside.
The guy's got decent stuff here, but
3 balls, 2 strikes.
got a split. showing batting practice here today.
E-man score.
I haven't gotten a look at this guy either yet, so kind of just might as well see some guys I haven't seen before. He was now he's a true closer, so he's kind of represents. Yeah, I wanted to try to start to actually add young prospect relievers rather than just having all these like low to mid 70 starters in my bullpen. So we interested to see his how he looks. I got another one at AAA too, who's only 18 but is already at like a 71 overall. See if this guy can make it out of this inning here. I mean, it seems like they're pretty much on everything he's throwing up there. Yep. Got that.
Got it.
Leading off for the Sanders, the catcher, Jay Langolier.
1-1. One ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, I guess I am.
No left fielder.
Doug's experiencing some of that. Mike is a lot more patient of a hitter. I tend to
0-1.
be overly aggressive.
Count 1-0.
It's kind of like when I'm getting a lot of strikes in a game, I tend to hit fairly well. If the pitcher is not throwing a lot of strikes, I struggle more. But yeah, I'm scuffling right now, and pitching wise, like poof. Never seen so many hard hit balls. I don't think. Home runs, 5 home runs.
The batter, number 3, shortstop, Wonder Franco.
1-0. One and one.
The batter, number 5, second baseman, Xavier Edwards.
good contact there. It was just right at the shortstop, 99 mile an hour. I have 6 hits over. I mean, that's not really great. 6 hits. I've had a couple of decent opportunities. OOTP, Doug. Yes, I have it completely set up now. I've joined the Sim Sports Gaming OOTP League. They had an opening. I was fortunate enough to get in there, and I had a little bit of technical difficulty, but yeah, it's my first experience with the game, and I actually gonna tomorrow set aside some time and really kind of just pour through all the different things that you can look at. It's pretty overwhelming at first, the amount of data that's available to you as a GM, but I mean, looks awesome. Very excited about it.
Leading off for the Orioles, the designated hitter, Renato Miller, 10 complete. Now pitching.
Oh, this guy's 6'5", huh?
He has
Curveball. There's another just rocket hit foul.
Ball that time.
The shift. Well, that ball was stung too, really. I mean, they're just.
now that the center fielder, Austin Hayes.
Austin Hayes, 2 home runs in this game already.
That's in. Ball 2.
I thought that was going to be a third right there. He just laid that 2-seamer right in there.
He's out.
Now that the catcher, Adley Rushman.
Definitely think I'll like it. OTP, I mean, just based on the time I've already spent in the game. Yeah, I definitely think I'll like it. I guess, yeah, I don't know. I don't see any really negatives or downside yet, or things that would be kind of like frustrating, I suppose, or things you wish you would be different with that game, you know. I did mess around a little bit. Like, I know, of course, the Sim Sports Gaming League is like a straight sim league. I did mess around just as like a solo GM, and the game interface is kind of fun. You know, like when you go into and actually play the game and do play-by-play, and you can manage it. Like, I did that for a couple games. I thought that was kind of cool. I know for a sim league you don't do that, of course. Who do we want to throw the top of the 9th? I don't know. I'd like to get another look at Baz. I threw him for a couple innings one of the games I played recently, and he was pretty dominant stuff, but let's go ahead with him.
I got the count 1 and 2. That's ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
number 8.
Nope. Count 1-0.
Not going anywhere. Down 6. Now this is kind of a case where do you go ahead at 2-0? I mean, you're down 6 and you need a lot of base runners, but I was going to swing if I could have actually. Down and in if I would have got around on that.
That's ball 3.
Same situation again. I mean, 3-1, need base runners, but big time, good power for low. Nope.
Third baseman, number 1.
Shoot. I don't feel as lost at the plate. Ooh.
0-1's the count.
At this one as I have in some other recent games I've played. But just haven't been getting the results. And that slider there is... That's a terrible at bat. Just terrible.
Now batting, the center fielder, Joe Adele.
That's the ball. Ball 1, no strike.
Now, how's my PCI way down there? There's no way it... Ugh. So that inning went from runner at first, 3-1 count, to a very good hitter, to just within like 5 pitches, the inning's over. Wow.
Leading off for the O's, the third baseman, Rio Ruiz. Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Now pitching, James Ross.
Kind of seemed to lollygag that throw.
Now batting, second baseman, Pat
Valleca, otherwise known as Cal Ripken Jr., 2 home runs in this game. Yeah, Baz is really, 98, 99, good slider.
Now batting, number 24.
1-0.
Yeah, I wasn't as sure on the low. I to be honest, I thought he might have gotten it, but
Inside, ball 1.
yeah, that was I think I've had 3 innings now in this game where it's like things have been looking really good. Looks like you're kind of primed to maybe bust out and have a crooked number. And all 3 times, just kind of one thing or another has happened.
Count is ball 3-2.
See, I mean, by all rights, I would say I should probably have like around 3 runs in this game. But when you give up 7, it's...
Now pitching, Danny Vaughn. Leading up for the Sandrock, the right fielder,
0-1.
Greg Go!
Well, they're hammering that thing. That was his first major league hit, yeah. Throw that ball out. Yeah, I don't think he has much of a power rating. Like, he's not a power hitter. He's just... .97 on the exit velocity.
0-1's the count.
Now back, the left fielder, Drew Water.
Golly. On that one, I actually think I did get. I thought I did get.
The shortstop, Wonder Franco.
Connection's kind of going rough on me here, looks like. That's going to do it. Well, very frustrating game.
First for the victorious visiting team, 7 runs to 11.
I actually didn't mean to exit. I was going to look at the box score, but yeah, between May, like, just cruising along and then just giving up 4 home runs in the 5th. And then just some of the frustrating offensive innings where it looked like there was a potential rally going and just couldn't quite get the big hit, or yeah, I don't know. That was rough. I think he had given up 1 hit going into the 5th inning. So in the 5th inning, he gave up 6 hits, 5 runs. Wow. And I suppose after like the 3rd home run, I could have gotten him out of there before he gave up the 4th, but I was kind of in shell shock. All right, so just to kind of finish up the episode, I mean, we're in year 3. The idea is that by year 4 and 5, we should put together back-to-back World Series championships. I don't know. Right now, it's not looking. I like the lineup. I like the everyday lineup I'm putting out there. I think it would have a lot of potential. But yeah, this pitching staff, I just really don't know I mean, I suppose by next season, a lot of these guys will be getting up into the like mid 80s, low to mid 80 for their overall ratings. But what we really need is a couple of them to just become ace level type guys, and I don't know that that's really happening. And then the other thing you have is just all these mid to low 70s guys, and I have a lot of them in my bullpen, but they're starting pitchers. So I kind of need this bullpen to develop, because if you figure Clase or Clase, I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced, and then if you can go Alvarado, Pritchard, and Guillen. We saw Guillen in that game. I think he threw a scoreless frame, didn't he? Yeah. If you can get those three guys all going out of the bullpen, and then also Clase, that's four kind of very reliable relievers, which I think is going to be a better makeup for the club than having a bunch of starters who are kind of just mid to low 70 type guys. Anyway, so with the progression that I do, and I was hoping to get off to a good start in this year. I was hoping maybe to challenge for a wild card, but with the loss on opening day, I would have to win the next 5 in a row in order to continue my human playing experience with this, with this club. Which, I don't know, I guess it's not impossible. Got Baltimore again and then a 3-game set with Toronto, so if I lose at any point in the next 5 games, that would trigger a sim to the All-Star break. Well, I would stop for the draft and then to the All-Star break. So I don't know, next episode, what I would probably, I'll play some games offline. If I can get, maybe a little 2, 3, or 4 game winning streak going, I would probably have the next episode be just a game only. If I were to lose in the next couple games I play, the next episode would probably be, kind of mid-year, looking at the record, which guys are performing, which guys aren't, and picking up there, which, of course, against the Boston Patriots, or Boston Red Sox. Yeah, a lot of good young pitchers, Doug. And by the way, Doug, thanks for hanging out with me the whole latter part of this game. I appreciated the back and forth, but yeah, a lot of good young talent, but it's just like when I've pitched with them, it's just like they aren't quite there yet. And then the sim stats kind of bear that out as well. I mean, a lot of these guys last year really had very high ERAs. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a stable of a lot of good young pitching. I mean, the 3 that stand out to me right now if you think about a playoff series, you want to have 3 studs. McKay's got to be a guy, May, and then Sixto Sanchez. I mean, I think those guys have, shutdown type stuff. I would have said Whitley, but he's kind of, I have him out of the rotation right now. I mean, he just, his career hasn't progressed quite as well as I would have liked when I first started this series. I figured Whitley would be one of my main guys that would kind of determine whether or not we cash in on this little experiment, but he's kind of just faded off into the background a little bit. Yeah, Doug, that's the key. And like I kind of thought coming into year 3 that guys at the top end would be more like in the mid 80s. And I'm talking about ratings a lot, but I know that ratings are just a number, but at the same time, like, you kind of have to go on something. So, and so far it seems like the ratings have correlated with the performance, because like McKay, who has the highest rating, has also hung in there. I mean, he had 2020, he had a 4.52, and then 4.81 last year. And he's got good strikeout numbers. I mean, some of these other guys. I mean, May had a 4.45, so that's not bad. Although he wasn't with me the whole season. Sanchez was yeah, he was above 5. He was a rookie. This Bubic, 4.65, 4.76. Whitley, I know was... Whitley got himself under 5.2, but anyway, it's... Yeah, at what rate is right, Doug? I mean, I was kind of expecting these top-end guys in year 3 to be a bit at a higher level than what they are. So it's like, what exactly will they be by year 4? That's going to be the big question, because I really do like the lineup. Very good everyday catcher, Langoliers. You got the low and low bashers from the left side. Love the double play combination of Edwards and Franco. You've got a solid guy like Adamus. And then in the outfield, I mean, I really like Adele and Meadows. And then I really like this Robinson. And then you've got, very solid guy like Drew Waters. So, I mean, still very young, all these guys are going to progress. I mean, 22. Meadows is 26, but Robinson 21 only. So, yeah, love my everyday lineup. But we'll have to see about the pitching staff. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up with some of the pregame talk. This is a little over a 90-minute stream at this point. So, yeah, I think Daniel jumped out of the chat probably, but Daniel, Doug, you two guys, thanks for hanging out with me. I'll probably, I don't know, today's Tuesday, yeah, I'm not sure when I'll stream again on the channel. I would say Thursday or Friday at the earliest. Definitely, if not Thursday or Friday, at some point over the weekend. And you guys could probably also, everybody, if you're watching this back on, non-live, I guess taped, make sure you'll probably also hear me jumping in from time to time with Mike and his franchise, just kind of doing some pre and post game kind of conversation. And I've been monitoring, moderating is what I'm trying to say, moderating his stream, and simsportsgaming.com. Also make sure to subscribe. Gives you the notifications, and those really are like very important, because I'll be going through my day not really necessarily thinking about like streaming or who's streaming or is Mike going to stream a game today or not, and then I'll hit get that notification. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, it's important if you're interested in checking out more of the streams. Yeah, Doug, you too, take care, and everybody have a good evening. Until next time.